AI is a challenge that our world is facing, and has already massively affected the internet landscape as we know it. In the age where information is so easily manipulated, many struggle to determine what is real and what is fake. Deepfakes and voice manipulation are common across social media. The proliferation of AI has already threatened jobs, both white-collar and blue-collar, in levels that most technological advancements haven't before. Tech companies are heavily investing in AI to cut overhead and keep corporate profits green. Does this mean the world is going to end as we know it? Frankly, no. There will always be a need for certain jobs to be filled by people. Man is meant to till the soil, and we can only shrug off that responsibility to some degree. I've used and developed machine learning and neural network algorithms for previous jobs I've had. From my working knowledge of these systems, a lot of AI's power comes from the self-referential nature of it. AI will begin to taper off once it starts referencing itself to create different analysis reports or even art. And while many people, myself included, see AI-generated content as a degradation of art, I have brought forth one counterexample that rebuffs that sentiment entirely. This is the greatest series of AI videos that have ever graced YouTube. I'm talking about the Presidential Zomboys.
The reason you can't get it to line up is because you're not even aiming at the right rock. There.
Oh my God.
My little Sammy bear, easiest S tier of all time, duh.
Oh, hell not.
Well, I have depth perception too, so I can see all the zombies coming.
So you can see all the zombies what?
I rarely talk about other YouTubers' content on this channel, but I need to make an exception here to really praise what's going on with this idea and concept. The original Presidential Zomboys comes courtesy of the channel Shreebington. There have been a variety of President's Play, in which AI-generated voices of the past 3 presidents of the United States come together to play different video games. Many of these tend to have surface-level commentary about the games that are being covered, and the 3 most common players, Obama, Trump, and Biden, have very defined archetypes. Usually, Obama is the cool-headed of the bunch, the leader, Trump tends to rage over the slightest of inconveniences, and Biden is the noob who doesn't know what's going on with any game he's playing. Applied to any game, this is a fairly reliable idea for a good viewing experience. You get what you want out of it, and it tends to be very enjoyable. However, what if I told you there was actually more thought put into one version of this? What if the creators of such an experience understood politics at least beyond the headlines to make obscure references to real things happening in our world and crafting jokes around such experiences? And what if it perfectly captures the experience of trudging through these hyper-complex Easter egg hunts with your friends? These are just a handful of reasons why this series in particular manages to stay fresh and relatable over a year after this trend has basically died out from the mainstream. Now, to understand why these videos work in execution, we have to discuss why Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is proliferating in the year 2024, 9 years after its original release. Whether you're on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is topping the charts across the board, and it really makes you wonder why. Now, this is where I need to share my personal experience with the series. I was very fortunate to grow up with the zombies community. I was there for every single DLC drop since the days of World at War, and actively played through Black Ops 2. After the jump to the 8th generation consoles, I stopped actively playing since I didn't have one, and Shadows of Evil looked weird to me. In retrospect, this was a horrible decision. It would take years before a passion to get back into this series reinvigorated my desire to revisit it again, and I fell into a near obsession of picking up where I left off at Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 had the Zombies Chronicles DLC, a remaster of all the previous maps that I grew up with, and the new maps. I've spent the better part of a year dragging a bunch of my friends through the puzzle-ridden world of the COD Zombies Easter eggs. Zombie EEs really put a group of gamers to the test considering the level of coordination that they take to complete. To be frank, they started off as doable quests that pretty much anyone could complete, and developed into the most complicated, nonsensical thing that you could ever imagine. And with BO3 specifically, from its graphics to its map design to the boss battles, it is the prime Zombies experience. And quite frankly, what is driving BO3's proliferation in the current year. Now, I've shown my appreciation for this series in a couple of other videos on this channel, and it's been great to see a wellspring of content that has been made about it over a decade. But as a veteran enjoyer of this community, I have to say, in my opinion, this is the greatest piece of content that has been made about zombies.
All right, boys, watch and learn.
Joe, what the hell? Are you serious? You shot that way too early.
Well, I thought like with bullet drop and travel distance, it
Excuse, Joe, you are very lucky we grew another one, and no, you are not shooting it again this time.
So how does the Shreebington Presidential Zomboys series incorporate all of these things? Well, first off, it just doesn't use the standard 3 presidents, but also introduces a 4th to fill the 4-player hole in the game with George W. Bush. This is great because most of the Zoomers barely remember Bush's presidency, and it does wonder to balance the banter that the group has, now with 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. This is pretty analogous to how the crews of any zombies map tend to bounce off each other with their own quips. What helps this series, unlike other AI content, is the minimal silence in the conversations. They just tend to flow, and if there's not too much talking, there's constant background music from classical games. References to other games I've played are plentiful, and surprisingly, they line up with the types of stuff I like to play. This series has taken the route of covering the most popular games initially, those being Black Ops 3 for Season 1, followed by Black Ops 2 for Season 2. Black Ops 4 is covered in Season 3, and that's where I'm admittedly learning a lot about the maps and the Easter eggs, because I wasn't actively involved in the series at that point. The early videos start with a simple layout in each episode, but there's more effort put into the gags and edits. The series has Trump, Obama, and Bush being fairly acquainted with the game, and Biden being taken through the eggs for the first time. All the presidents talk in not only the Gen Z lingo, but also the zombies lingo, which creates a delightful dissonance with these literal geriatrics who are running our society. But the jokes are not only focused on the political differences between each player, but the designs of each map, the steps in the Easter eggs, and whatever else they might be talking about during the duration of the video. As Season 2 begins, different scenarios and games are being brought up. And if you've ever been on a COD Zombies Easter egg binge, you're naturally going to stop to take a few breaks just to do high rounds, play other cooperative games like Left 4 Dead or Lethal Company, and continue later. This brings into the scene new introductions for each of the players' own real estate and the situations they're in, like Bush pursuing painting, Obama's relationship with Michelle, Biden failing at presidential responsibilities, and Trump campaigning are all echoing reality in a comedic way, which is much more enjoyable than any late-night television or faux comedy commentary.
You give speeches. Don't you want the grammar to be correct?
You think Donnie writes his own speeches?
Donnie barely gives his own speeches. He just gets on the podium and says random stuff.
When did you change your name to Donnie?
I was literally just about to say that.
Yeah, that's a pretty hypocritical thing to say, Mr. 300 million billion trillion dollars.
Okay. Go ahead and gang up on old Joey. It's fine.
The pre-game scenes are edited in my favorite type of way, with PNG slightly animated and moving while they're talking. I wonder why I would like that. But there's a variety of scenarios in which the presidents are spending time together, and you can really see how people might view this as time wasting or padding, but I find it being some of the most creative parts of each episode, considering they always tie back into what's being talked about during the Easter egg. You really don't need to be familiar with the maps or the eggs to learn things and enjoy these videos. Small jump scares and speedrunning techniques make appearances here and there. It makes me unironically rooting for these fictional voices that represent people who have shaped the direction and nature of our country, which is a very strange feeling to reflect on. What helps this series is the consistency that continues to reference current events and more obscure personal memes from each person involved. There are pretty obvious ones, such as Trump's myriad of legal issues, Biden's affinity for ice cream and small children, 9/11 jokes at the expense of Bush, and Hunter Biden's obvious cocaine addiction. However, if you follow politics at least a little, as I do, you can find references to Trump eating his pizza crust first, Obama's gay-coded letter in which a variety of peg jokes are made,
Sure it is, Mr. I make love to men daily, just in my imagination.
Bush walking into a locked door, and many, many more. Episodes can be easily dated to the events going on in the culture at the time, such as, for example, the release of Barbenheimer being a side quest that the presidents go on. One of the strongest aspects of this series is the continuous story arc that allows the Zomboys to play from map to map, and surprisingly, we see character development seen in each of the players. I know, like what? How? Why? There's an incredible level of consistency in each episode. There will be a comment about the Widow's wine grenades, and then you'll get a full flashback a few episodes later.
Ooh, Widow's wine.
No, Joe, don't.
You guys can't tell me what to do. I'm the god president.
After the stunt you pulled on Shadows of Evil with Bill, I feel like we have to tell you what to do.
Bush will say he spent his money on a life-size Lara Croft statue, and that statue will make an appearance eventually. The Gobblegum Nublet moniker bounces around so much, fourth wall breaks and meta humor crop up from time to time, but never go to the point where they're cringy. Seeing Trump and Biden find common ground despite their political differences is how I treat many of my friends that I disagree with politically. We can put aside all of our differences and enjoy zombies because the cooperative nature of the game helps bring people together. The series ironically gives more hope in the American political system than, well, our actual political system, which makes me wonder if the presidents were actually forced to play video games with each other, perhaps the level and temperature of animosity and anger would be a bit lower. You know, when I'm elected president in 2052, I will make sure that happens.
Okay, guys, I'm building the shield in this flooded neckbeard basement area.
You mean Donnie's gaming room?
My gaming room is one of the best. Believe me, I made it.
Ah, yes, the Donald Trump state-of-the-art gaming room, complete with infinite Diet Coke, tube-fed Cheetos, and a built-in gaming chair catheter.
Buddy, you're just pissed that Michelle won't even let you buy a DX Racer chair.
Did you just call Michelle? Donnie, that shit is not even funny. I didn't call her Michael. I was reading a letter.
Sure, Barry, sure. Your secret's safe with me.
Now, my personal favorite episode is the Presidential Zomboys break Gorod Krovi, which happens to be my favorite map. This is when Bush outs himself as a nerd, Trump hits his peak performance, Biden ruins the egg, and Bush cheeses the boss battle. With Gorod being one of the most challenging and complex Easter eggs in the series, it perfectly captures the highs and lows of going through a map like this. All episodes show the steps for completing each egg, yet all of the conversations feel so natural, as if the team making the video were actually saying these jokes as they were recorded. I enjoy all of the episodes, and a couple other ones that stand out are Classified and Die Rise. I do worry about YouTube's response to these types of videos. As I have explained in extensive detail, this is the most proper use of AI. However, YouTube has rightfully put restrictions on AI-generated content. Furthermore, 11 Labs, which generates the Joe Biden voice, has been blocked because it is an election year, and the powers that be want to protect the current administration to some degree. AI content will be heavily regulated in the near future, and I hope and pray that the faceless corporations making those blanket decisions can have a modicum of common sense and not restrict, or worse yet, remove these types of videos. All the creators of Call of Duty Zombies content on YouTube have been very enjoyable throughout the years. When I say this is not only the most creative Zombies content being made, but also the most creative AI videos on YouTube, I think that's something we should support. So please share the love by going to Shreebington's channel and subscribing. I also really enjoy the other games that are being covered, especially Palworld and Helldivers 2. And I guess I've been on a bit of a positive kick, so I just want to spread the love to creators that I think are doing really great. If you like this video, subscribe and let me know who else I should talk about in the future. I hope you really enjoyed this video. God bless, and I'll see you all next time.
You want to talk about plastic surgery? How much did it cost to remove Big Mike?
No way.
See, that is absolutely crazy to me. That is just wild.
Just kidding. We all know you kept it, so you can take Barack to Peg City.